Unpicking a messy muddle. Tilly can't read. She works as a cleaner in the local school and has various agency assignments in care homes. HMRC claimed that she has underpaid tax of £600 due to incorrect PAYE codes being operated by employers. Tilly was quite adamant that she had never worked for Health Limited, but admitted that she will have just signed whatever was passed to her. TaxAid uncovered identity fraud and employer error, and made a claim for HMRC error in not acting on information available in a timely way. Communication barrier. Neil suffers from a disability that leaves him unable to speak or write, and his only form of communication is through an iPad. He received a £100 fine from HMRC for not filing a return. His carer contacted HMRC. They suggested that he contact TaxAid because they weren't able to deal with his communication difficulties. Neil contacted TaxAid online. The issue was quickly resolved by TaxAid, with the cancellation of the penalties on the grounds that there were no criteria for a self-assessment return to be required. Getting closure for a failing business. Melissa rang TaxAid about her father, who has dementia, and had failed to file the accounts for several years. HMRC had now issued determinations for the missing years. Melissa continued working at the business, but in reality the shop had not been profitable for several years. TaxAid negotiated with HMRC for the debt to be written off due to lack of assets and her father's mental ill health. An elderly couple's legacy. Jack struggled to care for Sarah when she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Sadly, she became aggressive and unmanageable. She is now in a care home in the terminal stages of the disease. To continue to be able to afford care for her, Jack decided to sell her late parents' property, which she had been renting out. Jack rang TaxAid to help him with the income tax disclosure relating to the letting income. With TaxAid's help with calculations, Jack disclosed to HMRC. A settlement with HMRC was agreed of £4,000, with no penalties being charged. When no one else is there to help, Betty is a widow who had worked until the age of 75 to build up a pension. Now, aged 88, she rang Tax Help for Older People to try to sort out the muddle of the 3 different P60s associated with the 3 small pension pots. Poor administration by the pension provider incorrectly showed an annuity payment as taxable. Once this was sorted out, we completed the paperwork for a refund of £135, a significant amount for someone living on £750 a month. An invitation to an investigation. Carl's employer told him that from now on, he was to be self-employed and that he won't have to pay tax or NI. He knew that couldn't be right, so he went to an advice agency who passed him on to TaxAid. Carl was warned of the consequences of colluding with his employer. TaxAid explained that he would fail the tests HMRC uses to determine self-employment, in that HMRC would come after him as the first resort. Construction industry scheme confusion. Alexei was registered under the construction industry scheme. He got behind with his tax returns when he couldn't find work. He contacted TaxAid when he received a letter from HMRC saying that they were transferring the debt of £22,000 to a private collector. He had tried to appeal against the amount, but got nowhere. TaxAid calculated his tax and explained that his income was below the personal allowance, and so a refund was in fact due. We contacted HMRC to hold off distraint action and helped him to complete his outstanding tax returns. Because of the vulnerability of our clients, we have used actors in this film. These are real stories. There are thousands of people with similar need.